Hello everyone, amateur meteorologist. First weather here. It is December 22nd, 2020, just 3 days away from Christmas, and the weather is looking very, very interesting in the time period leading up to Christmas and even on Christmas Day. So, first off, right here is a GFS model, the 18Z run, and this is an Arctic cold front, believe it or not, coming in right around Christmas Eve to the very early morning hours of Christmas Day. And you can see we have a very impressive front, very cold conditions behind it, and some very wet and humid conditions ahead of it, not to mention the very unusually warm conditions as warm air surges from the Atlantic Ocean as the high pressure to the east pumps in air like a river. And that is very clear when you look at the Piwa anomaly. You can see just how wet this air is right here, how moist it is because of that pumping high pressure right here, really surging that air from the south high up, even into Maine and Canada. So very unusual for this time of year. And because of that, some areas will see records in terms of high temperatures. We're going to have conditions in the 50s even up in Maine. So again, gives you an idea of how warm it's going to be, with up to 70s possible just in the Carolinas. And so this then raises the question, what's going to happen with this front? So going back to the precip, the precip model, you can see that around 0C Friday, and keep in mind that all the models have been trending later with this system, with every single run. So it won't surprise me if the front actually comes through in the east in the wee hours of Friday morning. But you can see right here around 8 p.m. a strong line of storms, and on the backside, as that Arctic air comes through, we have some snow. And unfortunately, I don't think this cold air is going to really spread as fast east of the mountains because of that cold air impedance. But areas in western Pennsylvania, Ohio, Kentucky, southwestern Virginia, including Blacksburg, West Virginia, I think you could see a pretty steady period of snow as that front comes through, and accumulations would be pretty significant. So the white Christmas potential is looking increasingly likely for areas in the Ohio Valley, western Virginia, West Virginia, Kentucky, maybe even northeastern Tennessee, so, and the mountains of North Carolina. But unfortunately, the mid-Atlantic states along I-95, it just does not look too good. The cold air will be coming too late, and the moisture will be long gone. Now, that doesn't mean we could see a transition to snow. We could still see a snow for a couple hours, especially north of DC, but I don't really think you're going to see much in the way of accumulation or in a prolonged period of snow. So if we go now to 6Z, you can see that low pressure now lifts up to the northeast. And by the way, this is a secondary area of low pressure. The main area of low pressure is way to the north. This is, again, a mid-latitude cyclone. This is the long extending front to the south. And the models do develop a secondary low right down here that then tracks up the mountains and into interior New England. And because of that, you have the backside snows, again, in the Ohio Valley, even some snow reaching the Shenandoah region of Virginia, then into central PA and interior New York. And then by 12Z, so 7 a.m. Friday morning, that low lifts up to the north, some snow in PA and North Carolina or New York, and then some very heavy rains on the eastern seaboard and New England. And then by 0Z Saturday, 7 p.m. Saturday, it is out, and we have some very cold air. The lake effect snow machine is going strong, and we have temperature anomalies well below average. If you look right here, again, way below average. This is the temperature anomaly chart. I'll let you guess where the cold front is. Obviously right here. Huge temperature gradient right here with truly Arctic air behind it. And you can see this comes through with very warm anomalies ahead of the front, but once it's through, you have some very cold conditions spreading through. Again, it's short-lived, but it's a pretty mighty punch, and it looks like Christmas will feel like Christmas this year for most areas. High temperatures in the 30s, 15 to 20 degrees below average in many spots. And this is illustrated well with the GFS temperature forecast for 18Z Friday. Go back to it. You can see temperatures in the 20s and 30s in areas where the front has passed. And then on Saturday, conditions again in the upper 30s to 20s in the northeast. So again, very unseasonably cool for this time of year. Now, one thing I do want to touch up on is the Gms Ensembles. So see this area of secondary low pressure? The main area of low pressure is up north. And it develops this secondary low in Alabama, and then that tracks up the eastern coast like this. Let me change the color for you guys. So that tracks like this, right? So the most of the snow is going to be right here, right? If the low tracked like this along the front, it would be a different story. Most of your snow then would be inside the mountains. You would be seeing snow along the I-95 region from Richmond north. But unfortunately, that's just not the case. And because of that, the main show is really going to be to the west of the Appalachian Mountains, western Maryland, West Virginia, Ohio, Kentucky, northeastern Tennessee, and then central PA, western PA, and then interior New York. So really the main threat for the East Coast is going to be some very heavy winds, very heavy rain, and also some pretty gusty winds, because with that moisture surging north, those very strong winds aloft, and that wind shear, which will be in place for some localities, you could be seeing the potential for some severe weather. And accordingly, the SPC has put Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina under a marginal to slight risk of severe weather. I don't think it's going to be a huge outbreak, but there definitely is potential for seeing some severe weather from this cold front because of that huge temperature gradient and some of the shear involved with the system. So that is something to definitely to watch out for. Now, finally, here is the NAM 3-kilometer snowfall forecast. So you can see that the biggest snows are really confined to these areas right here: central and western PA, extreme northwestern portions of Virginia and southwestern Virginia, west of the mountains, West Virginia, Ohio, Kentucky, northeastern Tennessee being the main areas. And some of this is overdone. I think most areas will see about 2 to 5 inches in these regions right here, nothing more really. And then these outskirts could see a trace to an inch. And places along I-95, especially DC and northward, you could see maybe a couple hours of some very light snow, maybe a dusting or so. But again, keep in mind these events historically do underperform because the cold air always reaches just a bit too late across the mountains. The models have still been notoriously bad with forecasting that. So just enjoy the cool conditions or the warm conditions out of the front, and then the cold Arctic blast right behind it for Christmas Day. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.